Anything that affects your daily lives, whether it's here at the school, whether it's on the roads, whether it's getting to the point now that even what you eat is affected by government. Trans fats have now been eliminated. Safety measures on seats, kids' toys and paint. China's now saying everything is being covered. And anything they've missed, they double back on over the years. I've often asked this question, and I never ever got it answered to my satisfaction, but every year there are over 2,000 bills introduced, which is to tell all of you that 141 plus 47, 188 total representatives believe that we need to add 2,000 more laws to the books. In the end, some 600 to 800 new laws are added every single year. Some are additions to, some involve repealing existing law and replacing it. But there are over 600 that are actually signed into law by the governor, the speaker, and the Senate president every year. That's a lot of law. So if there's anything that hadn't been covered in our past 350 years or whatever it is, I'm sure they'll get to it this year. That's a lot of law. You stop thinking that. As I've indicated, I want to be, I'm glad you asked that question. And I'll tell you why. I served with Governor O'Malley in his cabinet for the first session of this term. And I watched as things evolved under this administration. And I like Martin O'Malley. I knew him while he was the mayor and I was the majority whip. Some of the subcommittees that I was the chair of actually involved the city proper. And so I would go to Baltimore. I've met with him many times as a legislator. I like him as a person. The way that he has led this state, to me, someone more conservative than he is, and probably more conservative than most of you, led me down a path to take over a year to really think long and hard at my age, why do I want to pursue this? And when I arrived at that answer, I entered the race. In this state and in this party, you're never supposed to take on those that are in power until the expiration of their term. He has one more 4-year term in front of him, according to the democratic process in this very blue state, of which I'm a part. When he raised taxes in November on the heels of then candidate Barack Obama, standing in Iowa in August and hearing him say the last thing you do in a down economy is raise taxes. From that statement by then candidate Barack Obama in August to November, Maryland experienced not only a large tax increase, an historic tax increase. That was okay. But right after that in January, he took already inflated, and I say inflated because as a member of the cabinet, I knew what the salaries were. He took already inflated salaries of cabinet members and increased them by some $600,000. Now, I happen to believe and have always believed that the state of Maryland produces a workforce that is well qualified and fully capable of operating itself. To go outside of this state on what we call a national search for someone to run one of our departments says to those that are there, especially in the number 2 or number 3 spot, because you're changing the top as a new administrator, as a new governor, as a new leader. It says to those that have been there for years, you know, you might be doing a good job, but you really not what I want. You're not good enough to do what I need done. So we had this historic tax increase. Now we have this money being doled out. on already high salaries. Then I watch as the economy starts going south, and I'm going to relay a few stories to you that are personal in nature. I watch what's happening going down the line. And then I watch as $3.1 million is spent on, and it is marshland on the eastern shore, which I'm not saying shouldn't have been preserved and owned by Kent County through program open space, but I'm saying it could have waited. And I'm watching all the way down the line as to what's happening to the state, and decided it's too late for me, but not for my two grandchildren. I want them to inherit something a little bit better than the direction we're headed now. That is why I decided to run for governor. You have good questions. You cannot just cut a budget and make things work. What operates your household, this school, government, is a balance between revenue streams, increases in tuition, for example. The school can't stay locked out, and I'll give you a good example of that in a minute, from from tuition increases forever, as nice as it would be, nor can you not impose taxes. You need a combination of both. I guess the best way to put it is this: gee, this 18-mile ICC is wonderful. It has cut so much time off of my travel from here to here. What do you mean it's going to cost me $6? What are you talking about, $6? You're crazy. I'm going to call my legislator. I didn't buy into that. Well, who do you think paid for the $2.1 billion ICC to begin with? We have to raise taxes. And where do you raise taxes for tunnels, bridges, roads? Gas tax. That's where the money comes from. In addition to stimulus money that came for creation of construction jobs. You have to raise taxes. But there has to be a sensible balance between the two. I'm not standing before you saying, I'm just going to go in and slash the budget and be done with it. Everything's going to be fine in the state now. I voted against the budget one time in my life. And I did it for the wrong reasons. Normally, after the fighting is all done and all the amendments and the battles are over, and the state budget is before the House and the Senate, you are obligated as a representative of the people to vote yes for it. And I'll tell you why. You take an oath of office every year. And part of that oath is to produce a balanced budget. You might not like it, but if it's balanced, and if it's in accordance with spending affordability, and the numbers work, you are obligated to vote for that budget. One time I didn't. I'll tell you what I did do. Then Senator Bernie Fowler and I voted against William Donald Schaefer's 5-cent gas tax in 1991. So he called us, gentlemen, said, I noticed the vote for the gas tax, which by the way passed. I don't know where you think that money for that overpass at Wason's Corner in Anne Arundel County is coming from. You must think that it just falls out of the sky. But because you were unable to support the gas tax, which funds that overpass and interchange, I'm going to have to take it away from you. And he did. 9 years later, we got it. But the point is this. At home, my constituents said no gas tax. I voted no. We lost the interchange for 9 years. Was it worth the trade-off? It's not my call. My call was to honor the wishes of the people that elected me in the first place. To answer your question again, you must balance increases and cuts and do it in a way that fits. You can't 1 year just strip the budget down and then the next year, like in 07, raise taxes to historic levels and call it a day. It's a fluid document.